Hello, friends, and welcome to one of my long awaited content that I've actually thought about to make for a while. Today, one of the topics that I want to talk about and teach you what to do about it is how to deal with smurfs. How can you deal with a smurf? How can you increase your win rate against smurfs? And so on. Because currently, there's a problem in Dota. We all know it. And I think it is very frustrating for a lot of players because you have to play against smurfs and there's nothing you can do about it. It basically makes for an unfair game. But this is not something that is changing anytime soon. I know it is very frustrating that it happens to a lot of people, but this is why I'm making this video, because I want to help you actively to tell you and try to teach you what you want to do. As Katara is on my side, she also hates smurfs. She wants to step all over them. But to get back on a real note, I just want to show you a few things and mainly touch on things that I want you to be aware of and try to do in the games where you know you're playing against a smurf. So to give you a higher chance of winning and also to help you have a better mindset, okay? So first of all, or second of all, whatever, what I want to get into is that we need to understand what is actually happening right now. So they're smurfs, they're higher MMR than you, they're higher MMR than they should be for the game that they're playing in. But we also need to remember they will make mistakes. They're human. Just like Miracle can die to any player in an 8K pub or a 9K pub, and just how LGD can lose to any other team at any given day if the enemy team outplays them, okay? So you can beat them. It's not, don't put this brick in your head where it's like, oh, it's unplayable, I can't win, yada, yada. Like, get that shit out of the way, because that doesn't help anyone. So, and now also, the most important steps that I want to go into, not only will they make mistakes and you can beat them, but these they're used to easy games, right? They're not playing in the skill bracket. They're used to playing with free farm every game. They're used to winning their lane every game. And they're probably going to win their lane most of the time, especially if they're mid. But they're used to having an easy game, not getting ganked, never get smoke ganked, always have free farm, always play with way too much gold, never get pressured. And then, sure, it's easy for them to, it's kind of easy for them to play the game, right? So what I want to get into is that I want you all to make their game as hard as possible, as uncomfortable as possible. And even if you can't kill them like 10 times, 15 times, 1 kill, 2 kills, or having vision of them or annoying them and so on will go a long way to kind of get them out of this snowball that most Smurfs will roll into, especially when they play OP heroes or they play in very low MMR and so on. So before I show you some examples, I want to give you 3 key steps or 3 little things that we need to keep in the back of our mind right now. So what I talked about already. Step 1, they're used to easy games, right? They're used to free farming, playing with a lot of gold and winning their lane, right? So they're used to easy games and having a lot of gold. Step 2, most likely they won't have very good protection in their games, because if they're smurfing, their teammates aren't that good. You're not going to have people like smoke break for you or place the perfect wards for you. Most of the games that I've seen from smurfs, they are warding for themselves. They buy one ward, they place it in their triangle when they're hitting creeps or in the mid lane, and then they just hit creeps, right? And also on top of that, since they're smurfing, they're going to be very greedy. They want to get every creep they can, all the gold that they can. And they're going to play with a lot of disrespect, because they're smurfing. They think that you are shit. They think that you're bad, right? If I was smurfing in a 2K MMR game, I would farm my ancients with 100 HP, because I'm like, yeah, no one is going to be here to kill me. But we're going to use these steps I'm talking about to turn it against them and shit on them and kill them. So step 2 is basically that they're going to be very greedy and that they will disrespect you, and we're going to turn it against them. And step 3, they expect to win every game. They're smurfing in a lower MMR bracket. All they're doing is to play for themselves, and they will get easily triggered and tilted if you kill them or beat them. So there's 3 steps. They have a lot of gold. They win their lane. Second of all, they have bad protection. They're very greedy. They're going to disrespect you. They're going to die to a lot of ganks if you try. The problem is people don't really gank them. And third, they expect to win every game. So if you do manage to gank them or kill them or ward their camps, they're going to get very triggered. I've seen this in a lot of games already from what I've watched. Okay, Now, the most important thing is that, sure, I've told you some few steps, which are probably pretty logical. Maybe they're not always easy to execute, but how can we do this in a game, right? So I'm not going to show you examples of how people beat Smurfs, because that isn't easy to find. But I want to show you a few examples of when they're easily killable and what I want you to do in your games and how you can achieve all of these things that I just talked about with like one or two little plays. So, in my opinion also, there are two different categories of Smurfs. There's the one, or I'm just gonna go with two different hero categories, okay? There's the carry and there's the mid. Now, these are two type of slightly different because you need to focus on, well, a couple of different things in the game, depending. If they're mid with snowballing heroes like Queen and Storm, you want to try to pay more attention to the active runes, minute 6, minute 8, minute 10. Whether you're the support or the mid, you want to do that. And if you're the carry and offlane, just be more aware afterwards of what can happen. Now, if they're playing heroes like this Warden or Shadow Fiend, Warden, a very popular Smurf hero from what I have seen, you want to just shut them down in the early game. Because I will show you how this guy plays. This is a Smurf in like a 3k MMR game. This guy is like rushing straight Midas without any more consumables or literally anything. So he dies because a +4 Night Stalker ganked him, right? Like this guy, they're greedy as hell. Look, he goes to lane and doesn't even buy more regen because he's just gonna want to straight up rush his Midas. And a lot of Smurfs, from what I have seen, this is exactly how they want to play. Now I'm gonna show you. Sure, he died again to this gank, where the Night Stalker came over, gets a kill. Now, he placed himself this ward. He's still just rushing his Midas. So for now, the only things you're ever gonna see is that this guy buys his own ward. He's gonna place it like as safe as he can. So when they're Radiant, they place it like here all the time. When they end up farming Ancients, they're gonna place it like here or here. And these guys, they just farm. Smurfs just farm. They disrespect you, they farm, and they take all the easy kills and all the easy frags, nothing else. Like, look at this guy's gameplay. It's just farm, creeps. Every time somebody wants to kill this guy, he's dead. He's straight up dead right now. If Night Stalker +1 hero run at this guy, he's dead. He even stole the tome from his team at minute 10. Now he buys himself another ward. Now look. He just hits his tower. He uses Midas. Now he goes to the triangle. He bought himself a ward. Then you're gonna see him place his ward soon. And now he just keeps farming. He keeps farming until he has like his next item, whatever, and then we continue. Farm. Anytime he gets smoked on right now, he dies. So, what can we do when we play against a mid player that plays like this? We can look for an aggressive smoke at any point. An aggressive smoke that goes in here where we place a ward and we see him. Having a ward in any of the aggressive areas to see them is super crucial because unlike lesser skilled players, they will sometimes end up here or end up here, but all they want to do is play safe, get a lot of gold, and then win the game, right? So what you want to do is pay more attention to the more defensive areas of the map where they will play with their Warden, with their Shadow Fiend. Try to get a ward here, try to smoke in here, gank them in the early game when you can, like leave your lane for a wave, try to go to them, annoy them, tilt them, get them out of their game, try to get another dev onto this guy who's playing this Warden. Like look, he's never protected by anyone. He didn't even place this ward yet, he has no protection. He's just playing with pure disrespect that he will never die, because he's a Smurf in this game, and yeah, that's just how these Smurfs play, right? So what I want you to pay attention to, if they're middle, with a snowball hero, pay more attention to this, to the active runes, and to be more aggressive with wards, potential smokes, and wanting to kill them, or at least slow down their game. Especially if they have these farming heroes, Warden, Tinker, Invoker. They're very greedy early. This will pay off a lot for them if they do not die and do not get pressured. It's the same if you have Miracle in a pro game or Arteezy in a pro game. You're not going to let them go naked Midas on Alchemist or Anti-Mage and then just farm freely for 20 or 30 minutes, right? The problem is that this happens sometimes in these games because I think you're not actively thinking about it. Lastly, if they're mid, they will oftentimes win the mid lane. And that's just how it's going to be, okay? Sometimes you are going to lose to these people, but we want to make it as hard as possible for them to end up winning the game. Now, I want to show you a quick game where, on the contrary, it's not a mid hero, but it's a carry hero, and it's anti-mage. And mainly what I am showing you all is the fact that they just farm. They just farm. They're not like insanely outplaying, TPing here, killing you, TPing here, killing you, winning their lane, TPing top, killing this guy, and involved in like 30 kills at 20 minutes, right? That usually doesn't happen. No. They want to get as much gold as they can, greed it up into a farming item. Midas, Battle Fury, Boots of Travel. Get more gold, kill creeps, TP, kill someone, get more gold, farm, farm, farm. As I hit my microphone, I hope we're still on track here. Looks like we are. Excuse me. Just getting a bit angry about the Smurfs. And again, it's important that we try to slow down their gameplay because they're used to playing with a lot of gold. If we stop them a little bit, they might feel uncomfortable. Suddenly it's just a normal player. And they are disrespectful as hell. I'm watching these people play. Guys, it is insane with what they get away with. But it's just because they're so used to it and they get so much out of being disrespectful because they farm every creep on the map. Every single creep, and they don't get punished. Maybe people are too scared, or maybe you all don't think enough about aggressive wards and smoking on them. And I know that it's hard sometimes. It's going to be hard. It's going to be frustrating. But I really want to show you that you want to put more emphasis on these type of players that play like this. So now, instead of looking at the mid player and what you want to do if they're middle, this changes a little bit if they're in the safe lane. So of course, they're smurfing. They're likely going to win their lane, whatever. But again, if they're a carry, they are very rarely going to leave their lane, especially if they're winning. They're going to stay in the lane all the time and then farm this and then go to the lane again and then farm this and go to the lane again and farm this. So if you can block any of these camps, it can be very valuable. Or if they're a dire carry, like even just blocking the easy camp or being able to farm the hard camp or here, having aggressive vision to where they will farm later, it's very good to just think about it. And you know, like maybe an AM isn't that easy to kill, I understand that. But you can still lower his farm by just stealing one camp from him every minute, okay? Or if it's a guy, or on the contrary, when you know that all they do is farm, you can either shut them down because you know, okay, we can smoke on them or we can place vision on them, or B, you let them farm but you destroy their team. Over and over. You just keep killing the teammates of the anti-mage, okay? Because now I'm going to show you the heat map of this anti-mage. It's been 9 minutes, he's bottom, and he's going to stay here. And I can lean back and do nothing, and all he's going to do is stay here. He's going to push out the wave from the jungle. Now he's going to push out the wave again, and then he's going to farm the jungle. But if we can remove one jungle camp from him every minute by body blocking it, or you can even buy a sentry. You can buy one sentry for 50 gold as the offlaner or as the post 4. You block the hard camp if it's a really hard lane, or you block the easy camp if it's a really hard lane, or you block this medium camp to the left. Just to ruin their farm a little bit, because again, they're used to having free farm. Try to slow that down. They get easily tilted. Try to do that, and they're very disrespectful. In terms of disrespect, what I mean is that if you try to kill them, they will very likely die. Sure, anti-mage isn't like the easiest hero to kill, but like this Arc Warden we saw in the game before, he's gonna die into like every single freaking gank. Now, it's been 14 minutes. This AM hasn't left this area. And all you can see is that he pushes out bottom, and then he farms like this tri camp next to him. Now that he has Battle Fury, he can go even a little bit more, right? And a little bit more, and a little bit more. And now, the next thing I want to show you is that they don't go around to gank. They will only come if it's a free kill. And now look, they buy their own ward. And once again, it is the most basic bitch ward I have ever seen in my entire life. These people, they don't know how to ward. All they do is, haha, these guys suck. I can place any ward and it will not get dewarded. So this guy, the first ward he places himself is this. It's like the easiest ward in my life to deward. It works out for them, whatever. So now it's been 15 minutes. This guy hasn't left his lane. 16 minutes he hasn't left his lane. Farm jungle, farm jungle. So if you do play against an anti-mage, you can either A, look to kill him in the lane at some point because you know he's going to return here, or you can smoke, place an aggressive ward somewhere here. You can buy 1 or 2 sentries to like just kill the easy wards, okay? If they're a carry, they will often have a ward here. If they end up farming the triangle, they will oftentimes have a ward here or here. If they're doing it on dire, you can just go here with a sentry obs and like kill this too. Now, after 16 minutes, it's the first time that this guy left his lane. So you can either use this time to shut him down, lower his farm a bit by blocking camps, trying to make a smoke gank, whatever, or killing his team. But really, the most important thing to show you guys is that these guys are super greedy, and you want to shut down the greed early on. I understand that you cannot win the lane against these guys because you're not really supposed to. They're just better than you, okay? Let's face it. They are better in some things because they are not supposed to be at this bracket. They're not supposed to be in this bracket of MMR, right? That's just not where they're supposed to be. I understand it. Like here, this guy stole his kill. He's pinging him. Like this guy is already being an animal. Right? Now imagine this guy who gets his kill stolen, he pings his ally and stops moving for like 3 seconds. If you kill this guy, do you understand what goes on in his brain? He can't take it anymore. And like you gank him in his triangle, or now that he has Battle Fury, you smoke here, you block these, like you block these two camps, your Drow Ranger farms everything up top, and suddenly this anti-mage is like, fuck, I don't want to play this game anymore. But instead, he's free farming, he goes to the triangle, he farms there, he goes to his jungle, then he goes mid, he collects a kill, he collects 2 kills, then he goes back to farming, and everything is free, okay? We want to make these things not free. We want to make it hard for them. And now I understand that this will depend on what heroes you play, what role you're playing, and so on. But if you're in the offlane and the enemy carry is a smurf, try to fuck him up in the lane. Don't feed him any unnecessary gold. Especially smurfs, you don't want to feed unnecessary gold because they're greedy. They're gonna rush these greedy items and then get more net worth out of it. So instead, play the lane to the best that you can. Block a camp or 2 if all they're gonna do after is farm. And eventually look for an aggressive ward or a smoke opportunity to kill them. If this is impossible, try to abuse their team because they get very angry and they will never help their team. Step 2, if they are mid, as in the game before with the Arc Warden, if people are rushing Midas without items, that shit is illegal. This shit doesn't work in high MMR because this is gonna die 7 times before he gets his Midas, okay? We're gonna kill him like 4 times before he gets his Midas. Play aggressive. If they're middle, camp their runes, gank their ass. If you're the carry, okay, you're not gonna interact too much with them, but do the best you can. Take it out of the fact that they're Smurf and that they're just human. They're gonna make mistakes, and if we wanna kill him, we can, okay? This guy, these people they're not God. We can kill them. This game, they play against a Smurf, they beat him. They kill him early a little bit, then sure, and then eventually he tapers off and they can still win because the PA has a very good game. But overall, these people are super greedy, super disrespectful. Think more about aggressive wards, aggressive smokes, and stopping their game at any way, shape, or form, whether it be blocking camps, smoking on them, killing them, camping their runes, making them annoyed. And if you really cannot do it because maybe your hero can't, try to tell your teammates to do it. And if that doesn't work either, then abuse the fact that they're greedy by killing their team and then just playing out the game. Okay? They're good, they're greedy, and they will join easy fights. Like, try to abuse the archetype of what a smurf is. They're used to playing with a lot of gold, so if we can stop that, that's great. They're very emotional, they're very disrespectful, and they will never help their team. So if we can work on any of these things in any way, that is amazing. I hope that this video can help some people out there. I watched a couple of replays to try and come up with the best way of how to go about it. If there's any feedback, or if we want more, or maybe lane specific or role specific, hero specific on how to deal with smurfs, let me know. Hope you all enjoyed this video and see you next time.